This man did everything right and still failed. His name is James. James is 34. He earns decent money. Not rich, not broke. He has a savings account, a budget app, a plan. He believes if he works a little harder, cuts a few more expenses, picks the right investments, things will turn around. James is not lazy. James is not stupid. He followed everything the internet told him to do. James will retire with almost nothing. And the worst part? He will never understand why. This is not a story about bad habits. It's about a system that was never designed for James to win. And the longer you blame James, the longer the system keeps working perfectly. Let's start with a simple question. Where does money actually come from? Not philosophically, literally. Where does it come from? Most people don't really know. They think the government prints it, central banks control it, banks just move it around. Sounds reasonable, but it's wrong. Here's what actually happens. When a bank gives you a loan, it doesn't take money from a vault. It creates it. Out of nothing. Just numbers on a screen. Money that didn't exist now exists. This isn't a conspiracy. This is how modern banking works. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most money in the economy is created as debt, and debt must be repaid with interest. Now think about that. If money is created as a loan, where does the extra money come from to pay the interest? It doesn't, unless someone else borrows more. So the system needs constant borrowing, more loans, more debt, more expansion. Not because growth is good, but because the system depends on it. Stop borrowing and the system breaks. This is not a flaw. This is the design. Now let's come back to James. James earns money. Before he even sees it, it gets taxed. Income tax, payroll tax, 20, 30, sometimes 40% gone. No negotiation. It just happens. Then he spends and gets taxed again. Sales tax, GST, VAT. Earn tax. Spend tax. Then he saves, but inflation eats the value. So, in real terms, he earns nothing, sometimes less than nothing. Meanwhile, the bank uses his money to make more money. That's the system. James is not the customer. He is the product. So he tries investing, stocks, markets, growth. And yes, sometimes it works. But the market isn't neutral. It's controlled by institutions, algorithms, professionals, people who do this full time. James, he invests during his lunch break. And when he wins, he gets taxed again. Earn, tax. Spend, tax. Save, lose value. Invest, risk. Win, tax. Now here's where it gets strange. The rules change for people who own assets. The rich don't sell assets. They borrow against them. Loans are not income, so they are not taxed. They live on borrowed money, then refinance, then repeat. And if they die, in many cases, the tax disappears. Completely. Legal. Completely normal. The system doesn't treat labor and capital the same. James sells time. Time gets taxed heavily. Assets grow quietly and often lightly taxed. Sometimes not at all. This is not unfair by accident. This is how the system is built. Now look at the numbers. The richest 1% own more and more wealth every year. The bottom 50%. Almost nothing. And housing? Used to cost 3 to 4 times income. Now 10x, 15x. Houses didn't become better. They became assets, investments. When assets grow faster than wages, the gap doesn't close. It grows. Every year. This isn't opinion. It's math. Some people will say, but people still become rich. And they're right. Some do. But those stories are rare. Extremely rare. and using them as a strategy is like planning retirement with lottery tickets. The dream isn't fake, but it's not normal either, and believing it blindly keeps the system running. So, where does this leave James? He'll keep working, keep saving, keep trying, and maybe he improves his situation slightly. But here's the truth no one says. Optimizing inside the system is not the same as escaping it. You can do everything right and still lose, because the game was never designed for you to win. This doesn't mean nothing matters. It means you need to see clearly. Not a perfect system, not a rigged conspiracy, something in between. A system built over time that quietly favors some and limits others. James will keep trying, and somewhere, someone who owns assets will get richer while doing nothing. No work, no effort, no decision. The money just moved. It always does. And now, the only question that matters is this. Now that you can see it, will you keep playing the same game, or finally start asking, who designed it?